in 2018, 4 years ago, at least. One of the advantages that I've saw, I can read the future sometimes about live streaming was the fact that usually live streaming is long form content, and I realized maybe getting some nuggets from your live stream could be a nice way to give more life to your content. Okay, if you are creating a long form content, you can slice it and then delivering more content, and also to feed the other platforms, social media platforms that you are on. And also, and the good thing about long form content and video content is the fact that you can use it we in so many different ways, like podcast, blog posts, whatever. And some people, they look at me like, Marco, you should be crazy because nobody will watch your long form videos, and you should make dedicated just for them short form videos, not this repurposing. It's crazy. You are nuts. And suddenly in 2022, 23, AI came up, and also tools like Opus Clip that somehow gave me some reason, because now it's wise, it's smart to repurpose the content because you already have the content there. Probably there you have nice nuggets of knowledge to share with your audience. Also, we don't have all the time to create new content. So I believe it's good to use these tools to kind of give more life to content. And by the way, let me share this, a shout out to my sponsor StreamYard, which allows me to go live also to talk about these nice topics. And by the way, you can find in the video description some links for you to try StreamYard in the basic plan for 14 days. Okay, so take a try, and soon I will be creating. If you don't know how the tool works, soon I will be creating tutorials about it. So let's bring Conor, because he accepted my challenge to talk about Opus Clip, because probably you already seen some of the nuggets I made from older live videos. Okay, so let's bring Conor. He's just finishing the cookie. Let me wait a little bit. Okay, what is going on here? Because
What's up?
somehow, okay,
There I am. Hey,
welcome.
did you think my mic was a cookie? How's it going, Marco?
First of all, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining me today, Conor. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here, because do you know that uh, somehow the prophet saying that one day you will have a tool that will allow you to repurpose your content in an easy, fast way without breaking the bank. And also because as solopreneurs, we have this struggle all the time. Time is pretty short, and I look to my external hard drives and I see hundreds of hours of video there, kind of getting dust. Do you remember that movie from Indiana Jones when they go back to the oh my god, that thing with
Which one?
dust? The first one
Oh yeah,
that
yeah, sure.
it goes, I don't know, the arc.
Yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
So, and you know that dust, and then they remove them. This is how my most of my videos are. Okay, so
Got it.
when I saw that there was a tool with AI that allows me to get the videos there, and she will slice them for me. It put captions, whatever. I thought I saw the light.
I'm glad you saw
So
the light.
thank you so much, Connor. If you don't mind, it's Connor,
Connor, yeah.
Connor,
Yeah, exactly.
Connor.
Just the
Okay,
Irish spelling of Connor. Yeah,
okay.
you
So
got it.
if you don't mind to introduce yourself, and then we can start the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am Connor, as you said. I am the head of partnerships, creator partnerships here at Opus Clip. We are the world's leading generative AI video editing tool. So, our goal really from the start is not just to make, to master video editing with AI. Our goal is actually to make life easier for content creators. I think, we kind of looked around and saw the state of things, and saw that the average content creator was, and we went to conferences, we talked to a lot of people, and we started to realize, like, right as we were starting this company, um, you know, creators are sort of facing two problems. One, they're getting pushed out by larger competitors that can produce more content than them. And because of that, the second problem is they're getting burned out, right? The people are stressed out. They're trying to produce too much content at once. There's too many different channels that they have to fulfill. And the content that they are making, a lot of it is in formats like really long formats, which is not necessarily super accessible, right? So, while I love listening to long form conversations, I'll be honest, I don't have nearly enough time every day to cover the number of podcasts of the people that I like and the people whose podcasts I want to listen to, right? And it goes beyond podcasting as well, right? Whether you're a YouTuber or a marketer, everybody has that video library that they're sitting on that they want to be able to take advantage of. And on the flip side, they're also exhausted trying to put together content and make sure that they're on schedule with everything that they want to do with their content. So, we feel like Opus Clip has been a really good first step towards what we are hoping is going to be a awesome suite of solutions that is really going to make life so much easier for content creators. So yeah, that's really been our mission from the start. We've come a long way from our beta in last spring. We're up to, I think, like over 3 million users. We're currently cash flow positive, which is awesome for a startup that's been around as long as ours. Yeah, so all awesome things. We've got some really, really huge things planned for 2023 as well. And I think, going back to that knowledge side of what you said, right? Like, everybody does have those kernels of knowledge within whatever they're talking about that are really valuable. We've really done a good job training our AI to find those, to identify those, and to extract them from your original video, whether it's in English or even other languages as well. And then be able to extract those, turn those into the format that you can use to then send out, whether it's here on, whether it's on LinkedIn or on YouTube or elsewhere, and really be able to capitalize on a whole new audience, right? I think for some people, it's businesses that need to get more in touch with Gen Zers. In other cases, it's just podcasters like you, Marco, who are trying to find ways to, okay, there are so many other audience members out there who I know would like my show, but they're never going to sit down and listen to a full episode or watch a full episode and discover it. But if they come across a short of mine organically, they might get into it. And that's really what ends up leading them to finding you, right? Shorts at the end of the day are the ultimate discovery tool. That if there's one thing that TikTok changed the game on positively, it did make discoverability easier for rising creators. And so we're trying to capitalize on those trends and ensure that you can still do the content that you love and not have to stress at all about doing that sort of distribution element that a lot of content creators just find so tedious and stressful.
Absolutely. And the thing is it has different, how can I say, layers. Because, for instance, one thing is getting inspiration. Sometimes we don't have inspiration, sometimes we are not in the mood. Also, it's difficult to be everywhere all the time, so that's why I believe these kind of tools, they are really useful. And there's something about this particular kind of tool that I love. Even though I love, I think AI, it's a great tool, it could be a great help. Some people, I believe that more than it should be, they are getting lazy and they are relying just on AI to create their own content, which I think is not the best way to do things. The fact is, Opus Clip doesn't do this. You need to have the content, then she will do the work for you. But first, we have some people here. We have Lindsay, that is editing a video with Opus now.
That's awesome.
Let us know how was the final result. And we have Valencia. I love Opus Clip. It has saved me so much time.
That's
That's
great to hear.
that's
Awesome.
that's true. And you were talking, Conor, and I realized something, that it's pretty interesting. Like, we bring these slices of video, okay, because we made these long form videos. I'm a completely fan about it's kind of my gospel. long form long form content,
Yeah,
okay, because I believe, and sometimes people, they tend to put things once against the others, like, oh, you should it's no, it's about short form, it's long form. I believe short form, it's good to capture attention.
exactly.
Long form, it's good to create that relationship and ultimately um, make a business, because I don't believe that someone will buy from you by just watching short form videos. I don't believe this. Probably in some specific situations this is true, but most of the times I think you should have kind of this big relationship to go to there. But one thing that you were talking and I was thinking, okay, we have these long form videos, and sometimes we talk about different topics within 1 hour, for instance. And bringing these nuggets, it's a nice way for you to showcase, like, okay, you have, I talk about this, and then you can somehow get this feedback, which will feed you with some new ideas about content, or at least let me go, because seen that this particular nugget has had an amazing feedback and people were asking more about this. So this is a nice way for you to get more insights about the content that people are looking for, right?
Yes, exactly. And you can apply that to more things than just and a lot of people don't realize this, right? But you can apply that to so much more than just content that you're trying to put out, right? We have use cases where people are using it for their sales calls. People are using it for their Zoom recorded customer service meetings, things like that, right? Where it's like, oh, I had that really awesome moment with a client earlier that I can use for my sales email later, or I had this aha moment where I really helped, a partner of ours, break through into a new market or something like that, right? And we went over on a call. You can take those segments and then turn them into marketing materials, right? Or turn them into sales training segments, right? There's so many different things that people do with video outside of even just the sphere of, obviously putting out content for people to consume, right? I think the number of applications are uh, you know, pretty significant when you're just looking at, okay, how do I take something that, is hours of footage that I don't want to have to watch back through and just get good nuggets out of it. That being said, I think, sort of, I will push back on your point a little bit, Marco. I mean, I do think that dedicated short form creators, there's a huge market for them still, right? And a lot of people do find a lot of success with that. But what I found with the dedicated short form creators is that they have so much harder time maintaining that audience over a longer period of time, right? Because it's sort of like what you were saying, Marco. The audience has a harder time getting to know them, and so they start to see them more and more as a gimmick. And so creators that are able to sort of bridge that gap and have that longer form content where it's more in depth, you get to know the creator more, and can mix that with dedicated short form content as well as repurposing their long form content, trying to produce everything, right? That's really where you find success. Of course, that's really hard, right? And I think
Tell
I
me.
think, but honestly, I think it's harder for the people that are doing the dedicated short form, and we're starting to see that, especially in the last a couple of quarters, right? I think a lot of the TikTokers that have been around for 2-3 years, they're not really seeing the viewership that they were. In previous years, it's getting harder for them to sort of maintain their numbers, and TikTok's putting pressure on them to make actually longer form content now. So I do think that things are shifting, even in the short form industry. But I think for long form specifically, right? I do think that for content repurposing, based on how our product is set up right now, I do think there are some limitations that we really want to address here, and we are addressing right away. And I think the biggest of those is my biggest problem with when you're cutting up long form content, especially a longer form conversation like this, into shorts, is that sometimes you have a specific topic that you're covering, right? Especially if it's something that's more nuanced or detailed, that can't fit within that sort of short form 1-2 minute long segment, right? And those are really great attention grabbing bites, like you were saying, right? But there's still sort of that middle layer of content that I would say, think of it like, if you go onto like Joe Rogan's page on YouTube, right? The JRE experience, his whole page since Spotify bought out his show is just his highlights, right? But they're not like 60-second highlights, they're like 5 to 20-minute highlights. And so that's what we're actually in the middle of developing right now, and our next big bet here in January, along with a couple other big ones, of course, because we're always doing way too much at once. But we are adding in the ability to clip from long to short, but not so short. So you'll be able to take a conversation like this and grab 5 to 10-minute highlights out of it, so that we can actually cover a whole topic and have like a whole segment that you can then also post on YouTube. And what some creators, especially some of our brand partners, have wisened up to is with the ability to do that, to repurpose the short form, repurpose the shorter but still not that short, and then still have the original long form content. They're actually experimenting with all sorts of different ways to distribute their content across channels and across platforms, right? Some of them are experimenting with having multiple different accounts on each channel, and sort of distributing the content to specific different accounts. And then others are just focusing on putting all their eggs into just 1 or 2 channels, and having all of the content on like a really robust YouTube channel. And it seems like it's working out for everybody. So I think the main point is, if your content is good, going back to another point you're making, and you're putting a lot of effort into coming up with something creatively on your own, not relying too much on AI to come up with the underlying topics of what you want to talk about. I think let the conversation flow naturally, or find interesting things to cover in your videos or cover in your topics. If you can manage that with Opus Clip, you'll be able to distribute it in a way that previously was completely inaccessible to most creators, and I think is making a big difference for a lot of people. So really, really excited to continue to innovate and continue to provide more and more different types of content with Opus. So yeah, we're just getting started.
Absolutely. And someone is already excited because yes, and there was something that lots of things that and this just shows you that you made it really right, because when you are kind of pinpointing the pains in the other side, it means that, and when you feel that, oh my god, this is for me, I can because one of the things, and this is something that it's not just about time, it's also the thing that usually, okay, it's time as well, because if you want to edit, you have two things: you can do it by yourself, or you need to ask someone. And I had this experience last summer. I tried to have a trainee to work with me. I thought, okay, you will be a trainee. If you do right, you will keep working with me. But the thing is, I was asking him a basket with flowers. He delivered to me a box with milk. So, okay. And the thing is, so I can learn by myself editing, but I won't be as good as editing as I would be creating content, for instance, the raw content. So, and also, this is another struggle that people, I don't have any background video editing at all. Okay, I'm a marketer. Okay, by accident I felt in this live streaming and content creator world. But the thing is, sometimes we look at those well produced videos and we kind of, because this is a reality which we should address as well. There's fear, scare, anxiety that we look at those videos and I can't do it like I can do that like them. I'm not posting this because it looks bad. It's and you can solve this problem as well, because we look at the videos and they are eye-catching. And another thing, just let me share, because I've tried other tools like kind of like yours, and one of the problems was, even in paid plans, Okay, the videos, they were kind of sliced. I mean, if I want to bring this f- layout I'm using right now in a vertical way, this will be kind of, they will be seeing this part of the video from here to where you have your name,
Yeah.
that middle with nobody. And in your case, Opus, they kind of understand, oh, the people are here, so let's put them uh, one at the top, another one at the bottom, and there you go. And I said, woo, because as I said, I tried this in paid plans in other platforms and it didn't work. So, well.
Yeah. Well, all I'll say to that is I'm glad you never tried us during our closed beta, because yeah, that's how it was at the in the early stages. But yeah, I think that was probably our single biggest challenge in the early phase, as we were developing the product, is and we're very, very customer feedback oriented, right? So when we first launched it, like, we immediately identified, okay, reframing is a challenge. It's going to be hard, and we got to put a lot of resources and energy into solving it as best as we can. And I think we were basically the first out there to really get a grip on it and really find that level of consistency, right? Where it might screw up, one in every 50 times, but 95+% of the time it's nailing it in terms of what it's able to highlight on the screen, and how it's able to identify who's speaking, and highlight them. And then also, like, if for instance, like, if you're making those facial gestures, if there's interplay between us, it'll automatically reformat both of us, like you said, into that vertical format. So I do think that's super helpful. We have also added in like one-to-one format now, and we're adding in some other formats as well that I think should help people out. But yeah, I think overall it's kind of a tricky space, right? Because you're trying to do so much at once, but at the same time, I don't want to overpromise to people, right? We are an AI tool, we're an efficiency tool. We are not going to replace a human editor, right? And there's still a place for human editors, and I think especially if you are working as a marketer on like a social media marketing team or something like that. I still think it's definitely helpful to have that freelancer, right? Now you can free up a lot more of that freelancer's time using Opus Clip, or working with them in conjunction with Opus Clip, whether you're operating it or they are. I think we've made the platform very, very simple for pretty much anybody, regardless of your editing level. I'm a terrible video editor, but never had any issues using the platform. It's pretty straightforward. That being said, there's still place for a professional editor, right? And we also can't replace bad production quality, right? So put effort into what you're trying to make. I think you'll get out of it what the amount of work effort that you put into it. You can't cut corners in terms of putting together, for instance, a beautiful layout like you have here, right? The elements like design still do matter, but I think Opus Clip ultimately, it's not really a true editor; it's an efficiency tool, right? So whether you're working with somebody professionally or you're doing it all by yourself, Opus Clip can still do most of the job for you. And anything else that you want to have that extra touch to be really special, still go out there, find a human editor. And one of the beauties of Opus Clip is with our Pro plan, you can actually create seats now. So if you have a part-time editor that you work with, or or another person on your team that you work with, you can team up with them, invite them to your plan, and work with them a lot more closely now, and do things like export the project directly into Adobe, so that if you do have a pro with you, they can play around with it and make changes, make fixes, etc.
Awesome, awesome. And you brought a topic that for me it's important, and it seems like it was yesterday. It will be in a couple of days. Well, a little bit more, a couple of weeks. This live show will be making 6 years. Okay,
Crazy.
and I believe this is something that has to be said. That sometimes I think I improved everything on my live show. For instance, the microphone, it's way better than the first one I had, which is over somewhere. It's there. The blue snowball ice. So the sound, it's way better. The lights, everything. Just me, I
No, I mean, you go
But
through you don't know how much you suck until you try it, right? And then you realize,
yeah,
you know,
and
and then
there's
over time you get better.
I don't know if you know social media management tool, call it Metricool. They are from Spain. They are my neighbors.
Okay.
And once I had here the CEO, and he told me something. I don't know if he was the author of this quote, but it's pretty nice. If you're not ashamed of the first version that you launched, you made it too late.
True. True.
and
Very
and
true.
the thing is this applies not just for tools, also for content. Like, I look back to the first videos I made and I said, oh my god, where do I have my hands? I was not looking to the right place. Just one thing was good, I think. Of course, I'm suspicious to talk about this: the content. Okay, I'm pretty serious about it. Maybe the camera is not the best one, the microphone as well, but the message that I'm delivering should be the best one I can in that moment. So this is important for those of you who are watching this live show right now, live or later. Don't think it's too soon to start creating content. And another thing, getting back to the what you said, Connor. If you start investing in this kind of tools, could be the best way for you in the next future to have the chance to hire a freelancer or a full-time video editor, because I can tell by myself, the fact that I went live as soon as I could is the fact that granted for me to invest in my studio and getting these new opportunities. I believe, Connor, that one of the problems by these days that you may face talking with customers and potential customers and potential content creators is this terrible thing called the imposter syndrome. How can you, which advices could you give to people, and also how can Opus Clip help people with this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've actually been working with some personal branding coaches here on LinkedIn, who kind of are experts in these kind of spaces. One of them's name is Liam Darmody. He's awesome. And another is Laura Acosta. So you should check those guys out. I think in terms of talking to them and sort of understanding the challenges that they face and that their clients face when we talk to them about sort of this concept of imposter syndrome, I think the biggest thing is we all got used to being on video during the pandemic, right? We were all on Zoom, right? All of us, even if you weren't working at all during the entire pandemic, I'm sure you hopped on a Zoom with your friends at some point, right? So we all are pretty comfortable talking on in front of a camera already. We just don't realize it, right? It's just like, so for some reason, when you go live or when you hit that record button, suddenly you feel like, oh, like suddenly this is different than any other call where I'm screwing around on Discord playing video games with my friends. It's not, right. You can figure out how to be yourself pretty naturally if you put it into that framework, right, into that state of mind. So I think that's sort of how I view it, and how I've heard a lot of brand coaches do it. And I think where Opus Clip really helps with that, right, is as long as you take those opportunities to record what you've been saying, right? Record your conversations, record your Zoom conversations, record, the conversations that you're having, meetings at work, anything obviously that's not proprietary, because, don't like spill all your company's secrets on Opus Clip, but you know what I mean. The beauty of the simplicity of Opus Clip is what I'm trying to get to, and to that concept of clipping in general is, all you have to do is feed it what you've already done, right? So, feed it your latest meeting, right? Feed it something that, if you just had a moment of inspiration where you had a really intelligent kernel of knowledge and you're not really sure how to frame it or word it, just grab your phone, record your face, and start talking at the camera for 10 minutes. It doesn't matter if it's word salad, throw it into Opus Clip. Opus Clip will probably do a pretty good job cutting down all the fat on everything that you were trying to say but couldn't figure out how to say, and actually help you get to the point, because eventually you'll find it, right? they'll figure out how to get to the point and really find that spark, that inspiration, that moment that turned out really good. And that's what Opus Clip is great at. That's what I think. If there's one thing that it really excels at, it is finding that moment and then being able to give you that vertical video, like with the captions and everything, like you said, so that it looks polished enough, right? It's not going to look you're not going to make a Mr. Beast video on your first try, but it's going to definitely it's definitely going to look a lot more polished than you probably think. And the other thing we've seen is whether it's on LinkedIn or elsewhere, video is just taking over, right? And we think 2024 is going to be the year for AI and video. We really have a conviction about that, and we really want to lead the way there and help people find their voice, get themselves onto video. I think everybody, there's no reason why you can't post video content. Especially with tools like Opus Clip, it really is that simple. So yeah, go out there. I know it's embarrassing. I know the imposter syndrome can feel awkward, but you're already on camera more than you think, right? Just take the stuff that you're already doing and throw it into Opus Clip. You would probably be pretty shocked by the results of how good you look when you have an AI cleaning up what you said after you.
Absolutely. And another thing, and I'm always thinking, you're talking, my head is, and one of the things is somehow this could be hopefully a good addiction, because when you don't do content because you think you're not good enough, you don't have the right things, and I've been saying this since the cell phone camera was invented or so, that an average cell phone, if not a low-cost cell phone by these days, has a better camera than a high-end camera back in 2000s, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
So no excuses. And the thing is, it's way easier for you to edit, because I don't know if maybe you don't remember this, Conor, but I had this VHS C or S cassettes, and I had to have an adapter, a VHS adapter, so I can see the recordings of my camcorder with my VCR. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so by these days you have it's so easy to at least to watch things and to
I know.
edit them, right?
Yeah, I'll never forget, all the DVDs I had to burn, in middle school, and before that, all the VHS tapes that I had to rewind, right? I think the medium of video has definitely gotten a little bit easier over the years, and it's kind of insane looking back how far we've come, even just in the last year, from sort of what was possible then to what is now. Obviously cloud computing and all of that has helped a lot, and made our lives a lot easier. But I think AI is really going to take that next step forward. And what my dream is, and what I think what we really want to be able to do here in the future. I'm not promising that Opus Clip specifically is going to do this, but I think it's going to be possible with AI in the near future. Is my original dream for an AI product for a content creator was actually for a live streamer to be able to talk like we're talking right now, tell a story or talk about a example or a vignette, and be able to have that an AI actually try to bring their story or bring their idea to life on screen in real time in front of the audience. I think I think that's the most powerful way that you can leverage AI for storytelling and for content creation, is sort of trying to visualize and bring to life the ideas of people. Allows for so much flexibility in that creative process, right? And it's still a human creative process. It's just figuring out how to, I think the only AI element is figuring out how to leverage the AI or work with the AI or finesse the AI, if you will, to get sort of the best visual result that you can out of it. But it's still sort of your story, your idea, your creativity that's leading the way. And I sort of see that as that balancing point. Going back to what we were talking about before, between sort of your own creative process and leveraging AI for efficiency and for being able to express yourself creatively. So I think that is going to be here before we know it, and I think when that arrives, the potential for content is going to explode. I think not only will the content creation industry and marketing industry and all of those kind of things change drastically. But I think all of traditional media, everything with video, will change pretty drastically at that point, because it'll become easier and easier for people to execute on their creative visions, to turn their ideas into real stories that are consumable by others. And I think so many people have so much creativity out there that isn't able to come to life in any way, shape, or form. Nobody's ever going to see the crazy dream that you had last night, right now, because it's so difficult to put together. Hollywood drops $200 million on these productions that end up flopping most of the time, it seems like these
Yes.
days. If you can take that $200 million process and turn it into a 20-minute process with AI, I'm not saying we'll get there tomorrow, but even if you can create something that's a beginner YouTuber quality, today, I still think that's a huge advancement, and something that is really going to revolutionize creativity, or I hope will, in some really awesome and positive ways.
Absolutely, absolutely. And oh my God, because you were talking, and this is because right now AI can't read our minds, and he does or she does what she does based on what she's listening. And in this case, and heard someone, I think it was yesterday or so, talking about, for instance, the different accents that we have. For instance, within the English, we have, okay, we can kind of divide, just for example, the English, the Scottish, the Irish, the American, and we can keep the whole afternoon talking about different accents. And then we have the different languages. Which language does Opus Clip covers right now? And let's kind of go a little bit to the backstages, and if you can explain how you train the machine to understand the different accents, because I believe for a machine it's quite difficult to understand this accent, it's from whatever. And for instance, like in Portuguese, we have sometimes the same thing which could be said in a different way. How you train the machine to understand it, and then there you go.
Yeah, I mean, most large language models, they train them on a variety of accents, to try to account for it. Of course, there's such a variety of diversity of accents out there, for every single language that I know of, at least, that it gets really challenging, for the AI to be perfect with it. But like everything else, it has come a long way. We use Whisper as part of our tech stack, so I think they do most of the heavy lifting. They're not perfect in every language, but they do most of the heavy lifting for us. And then we have some stuff that we built ourselves to sort of help bolster that and make sure that it runs smoothly within Opus. But I think overall, the state of sort of that auto translation or auto transcription, auto captioning, it's in a pretty dang good place right now. Obviously, there's still like a few errors that it'll make here and there, and it has trouble picking up certain words and certain accents, definitely. But for the most part, I think it's come a pretty long way. In terms of languages, I don't know all of them off the top of my head. I know that we have 20 plus languages that we do currently work with. Primarily, though, we work best with English, French, Spanish, Portuguese, German, and Italian. I would say would be sort of our core languages that we do really well. We do a number of other European languages as well. I think Arabic and Asian languages are still a little ways out, just because it's specifically because we need to develop more capabilities for Asian characters, right? And for Arab script, right? The script is different, takes up more or less space, right? Than most Romanesque languages, right? Romantic languages, or even Germanic languages. So it's a little bit trickier, but we're working on it, and we will definitely be launching in pretty much every language very soon here. And I think
I'm
we
gonna
got
try.
a
Yes,
question here from Valencia. Can we
yes,
have it?
and I
Yeah.
was about to read the question
All
and
right, you go for
bringing
it.
um, my add-on to this question because Valencia has something. Can we have any filters coming with Opus to make us look better? I don't think, Valencia, that you need to look better. but 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 the thing is, and this happened to me. I don't know if probably it happened to you as well. That we see these overproduced photos, videos, and then we meet the people in real life, and what are you? Who are you? I don't know. Really? So I'm I'm kind of in the middle of the bridge about this because I like to, because as you can see, I'm not a beauty influencer. But the thing is, I'm okay with the way I look because the only thing that you can tell is how my height, because sometimes people, they are a little bit surprised. Oh no, you should be small because I'm seated. Okay, but I'm a little bit tall. For a Portuguese, I'm even taller. But the thing is, I'm kind of in this, I'm a little bit conservative. If you look good, you will look good. If you don't look good, deliver a good message, an even better message, so people want to listen to you. But I think there's always room for some filters and some, because a filter could be also a kind of an entertainment factor to your content.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think in terms of beauty filters, I don't think we have that on the roadmap at all. That's actually, I think, the first time I've heard that one requested. I'm sure our customer service team has taken that one before. I'll ask them to see how many people have requested that one before specifically. I think personally, I think the challenge with beauty filters is just from my experience, at least, most of the beauty filter apps, like, they usually work like, to be honest, they work really well usually on like one race, right? It's like the Asian ones work really well for the Asian look, and then there's ones that are built differently for different markets. But it's really hard to have sort of like a universal beauty filters that I think work well and apply well to most people, depending on your gender or what kind of look you're going for. Rather than sort of beauty filters, and maybe this is what you were talking about, Valencia, I'm not sure. One thing that we definitely are looking into and what we're exploring is being able to use AI to visually enhance, right? So that the classic CSI trope of enhance the video, to be able to see what happened in the replay. I think we're actually getting closer for AI to actually make that possible, or the AI can actually help fill in additional pixels and sort of guess, and try to figure out, okay, what should have been there. How do I double the resolution of this? How do I sort of clean up the image? So that kind of stuff we're definitely looking into. So anything to help you sort of improve your production quality in the post-production process, we're definitely really excited about and definitely exploring. But beauty filters specifically, I will have to ask and see if that one's on our roadmap for sure.
Okay. Valencia is saying
Yes,
yes,
enhancement.
enhancement.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think enhancement's definitely on our roadmap. It's something we're looking into. It's not quite, the technology's not quite there yet, but it is getting better. And so as soon as we feel like it's ready for showtime, we'll definitely roll it out. Because as you've seen with Adobe, right? Adobe's audio enhancement has really made a big difference in the sort of the studio audio that they're able to bring to all of my crappy audio recordings that I'm usually doing, because I'm like in the car or on the go while I'm trying to record stuff. It goes a long way. So if we can do something similar like that to Opus Clip audio and video feed as well to enhance the quality, we're definitely going to be adding that as soon as we can.
Absolutely, pretty nice. And I don't know why it didn't arrive to the studio. We have Joe Shepherd from Ireland saying, "Hey, Marco and Conor, great overview, discussion, and thoughts. Thank you so much for stopping by." And we have here Franz from
What up,
StreamYard.
friends?
I think I can say that he's from StreamYard. What a Kruger to say
Whoa,
you
careful.
hang out, Marco and Conor. So good
Friends,
to
let
have
me
you there
go.
as well.
When's the paternity leave starting? What you gotta send out the blast when the baby's born. We're all looking forward to that.
Another thing that came to my mind, Conor, is the fact that, and this is something that I believe it's important, and I've emphasized this because I made some trainings about live streaming, and because live streaming it's tiresome, okay, and it's pretty important. One of the things that it is pretty important is to breathe. It's kind of crazy, but because breathing and having some silent moments, it's good for you to get energized, and also for you to bring these different moments, like if I stop talking, or if I talk a little bit, um oh my god, not louder, oh my god, lower. Okay. The people will pay attention. And also, when I believe that if we want to use this properly, even though the AI could help us, yes, I believe it could. But if we do this properly, having in mind, I want to repurpose this, let me kind of ease the work for that to grab my thoughts and then put them there. So I think it's good to emphasize that. And I believe, like, also, for instance, bring more structure to the content, okay, because sometimes we go, and this could happen in live streaming, like, okay, let me just go and talk to my audience, and who cares? Let's just send I believe that it's another how can I say, reason for you to structure properly your content, like, okay, I want to cover this, so then I will get a nugget about this, this, and this, so I can deliver. And also communicate in a proper way that will ease the process. Because let me know if I'm wrong. Like, if you don't spell properly, for instance, a whole sentence, maybe the AI won't realize that that topic was something that she could somehow highlight, and maybe you could lose that information.
I guess it's possible. I think generally the AI is pretty good at parsing through what you're trying to say, and try to help you get to that point. But I think for the most part, what the AI is looking for is it's looking for sort of completion. And I think that's where people run into trouble. Is like, if you're taking too long to get to the point, right? And you started your point, a full 2-3 minutes before. That's where the AI starts to have trouble, because it's trying to figure out, okay, what is actually important in here, what isn't. It's going to find the part that is the most important, but if it can't figure out how to get enough context in there from that rest of that segment to fit into that short format length that we've prescribed, that then it might just throw out that chunk, because it's like, okay, I just can't make anything out of this, right? The segment's like 4 minutes long. Half of it's me being like, but usually it can cut that kind of stuff out. That's not a problem. But if half of it is like, me thinking about the next thing I'm going to say, and I'm not really sure what I'm talking about, but I'm still talking and speaking coherent sentences, that's what you need to be careful about, right? You can take a big pause, you can take you can put some things that are imperfect in your speech in there, right? That's not really an issue. The issue is generally when you're talking and making coherent sentences, but it's kind of just gibberish, and you're buying time for while you're thinking through what you're actually trying to say. That's the one bad habit that I've seen some creators fall into, especially some podcasters fall into, because they feel like somebody needs to be talking the whole time on the podcast. And that generally leads to issues, because the AI just doesn't know what to do with it, right? It's like, okay, this is all fluff. It knows it's fluff, but there is some important information in there. And cutting out that important information with that, cutting out all the fluff and just leaving the important information, sometimes it just leaves the AI without enough context, or worried that the audience won't have enough context to understand what the heck you're even talking about. And sometimes the AI does just give it to you anyway, and it's like, here it is. By the way, this has like a score of 70, and we think it lacks context, but we gave it to you anyway because we think this is still a decent nugget, right? I'm sure you've experienced that before as well.
Yes, I did. And I'm thinking about this because there's she talks mainly about copywriting, but this goes with every kind of content. Your content, it's not good enough when you look at it and you say, I can't add anything else to this to be good. Is when you do the opposite. I can't take anything more out to be good. And I believe this goes kind of the way you mentioned, like, okay, if we need to tell people how to do this, do it in the better and straight to the point way. Not like, oh, so you blah 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 blah, because then and then you'll say the fault it's of the tool. Is that good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because and again, and even though I like to do most of the things in a spontaneous way, I believe that when you and I made this mainly when I did some solo live shows, like for instance covering 6 ways to do this, 7 reasons why you should not do that. The message was pretty well delivered. Okay, and I was a little, because sometimes I have this problem like going a little bit around and around.
You and me both, man. That's the story of my life.
So that's why it is good to be straight to the point, also to help the AI. We have more comments here. Okay, let me show any good example of LinkedIn creators, B2B creators that are leveraging Opus.
Yeah, of course. We got a bunch. Some good examples that come to mind off the top of my head are people like I mentioned before, Liam Darmody and Laura Acosta. They both have been using it. There's another top voice named Melanie Bourdain or Borden. Melanie Borden is she does more of sales focus, but or sales and branding, marketing focus. She does a bunch of different stuff. She has been using it. She actually gave it to her 9-year-old daughter, and her 9-year-old daughter figured it out like that and has been helping her edit videos, which I think is awesome. And then we've got some other people like obviously like you. There are a ton of other LinkedIn creators out there that are already leveraging Opus in different ways. The master from an AI perspective, if you don't already know him, is Ruben Hassid. He actually just made a post today about Opus, sort of showcasing a new way that he has leveraged it to be able to produce an insane amount of content and sort of on a daily basis using just AI. He sort of automated the whole process more just as a theory, right? To sort of test the theory of, okay, if I do automate the whole AI process of AI content creation, just stealing content basically for now, how fast can I pump out content? And he's able to produce like 40 individual pieces of content a day and post it all daily completely with AI. He doesn't have to lift a finger. He just built all the scripts and then ran it. So there's some really cool things that you can do out there with it. Obviously, if you just want to test the limits of it, but there are a lot of B2B SaaS creators and creators sort of in the LinkedIn professional space that are leveraging and posting using Opus Clip results regularly. Justin Hardy's another good one. That just came to mind. He posts and mentions us all the time. And also, if you are one of those creators that's out there and using Opus Clip and posting your Opus Clip results, could you guys tag us once in a while? Sometimes you don't know, right? Sometimes you come across you guys like, 1 month or even 6 months later. It's like, this guy's been using us the whole time. We had no idea. He never tagged us. So, we don't really, we're not exactly going through and like coming aggressively through our own data. Maybe we should be, but we want to respect your privacy somewhat to track down who are like the notable people using us. But for the most part, unless you tag us, we don't necessarily know you exist. So if you want some free credits and you want to post, Opus Clip videos on LinkedIn, just start tagging us, and a little fairy named Connor might reach out to you and give you some free credits. So just some good advice for those of you who are interested in using Opus Clip out there or already using it in the case of Valencia.
Okay, let's just go over awesome. I will go back to you, Valencia. Awesome, all new names to me, but go and check them out. Thank you. Wow. And Valencia came funny because I talked before starting the live show. I asked Conor about this feature. Is there anything in the works to use AI with Opus to write a post description for our video when we use the auto post feature? I asked about also about the hashtags.
Yeah, hashtags are nice too. Tagging is a little bit more tricky. I don't know how effectively we'll be able to tag still from within our own tool, but outside of tagging, yes, absolutely. You want to be able to write really, really good descriptions. I think part of the challenge there, and one of the things that we're working on is depending on the platform that you're posting to, right? The way that you would go about writing a description for it or writing a copy for it for your video would be quite different, right? Like I wouldn't necessarily post the same sort of post for a LinkedIn post, right? You might want something a little bit more in depth because on LinkedIn your text leads and then the videos below, right? So you might want to approach it a little bit more differently than you would on YouTube, where it's kind of buried. Whatever you write is buried in the description more, right? And it's more about SEO than it is about telling a story in the copy or something like that. So we are working on trying to find ways to develop that out for each individual platform and also for different use cases, right? There are already, especially for LinkedIn, I know there are a lot of chat bots out there, or bots made by specific LinkedIn top voices to help you sort of produce copy. So there are, and you can always just feed your Opus Clip result back to Chat GPT. I've seen a lot of creators do that as well. You can just drop the video in there and say, hey, Chat GPT, understand this clip for me. What's happening in this clip, and then help me write a post description for YouTube. And that is a good stopgap that I know a lot of creators use for now. But eventually, yes, we plan to integrate that sort of large language model capability directly into the product. We just want to do a good job with it so that it actually works for works in context of like what you're trying to do, right? Because we could throw it up there this week, but it wouldn't be very good, right? It would just be built on a very general script of like, hey, just make a description for this post for any platform, right? And it just wouldn't work, right? Like, the results wouldn't be what you're looking for. So, we've been working on developing it in a way that we think is going to satisfy people, and that's really goes back to our mission, right? Like when we launch things super fast, and sometimes we might break a few break a few people's computer, not actually breaking their computers, but might crash their browser in the process of launching things too quickly. But we will never launch something that we think is just completely subpar and unusable, right? We're going to keep developing it and working on it. And if it is not quite up to par, we'll just slap the term beta on it until we can figure it out and just let people know, like, hey, we're really trying to push the limits with this technology, but we're aware that it's still got a few problems. So if you have run into problems, let us know. That's why it's still in beta. But things don't stay on the shelf long. I don't think we've had a feature that's lasted in beta more than a month or two.
Awesome. And before asking you, and I want to I want to be a little bit sneaky before that. You have time for people in the audience. You have one more question. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta hop here soon. So any other feature requests, any other questions about using Opus? If you have anything you're not sure
take your
about,
time, or shut up
anything
for
at all. Yeah, or just tell me to go away. I'm happy to go away too. You probably heard enough of me already.
Any new feature that it's about to come to the sunlight that you are excited about, or you want to keep it secret?
I can share some things. As I mentioned to you before the show, the thing that I'm most excited about is we do have a free captioning tool on the horizon. I can't share too many details about it just yet, but it is going to be web-based. It is going to be free, and it is a tool that will just caption your videos. So whether it's long form or short form, whatever video you've got, you can just drop it into our site, no login required, and boom, you will have a captioned video just like that. Really excited about that. I think we're going to get a ton of interest in that. There's so many people out there that are just looking for the captioning, and we have a lot of users that are just captioning right now, and it's not fair that they're using Opus Clip credits to just caption a video, right? So we want to provide captioning for free for everybody. We think that it's time that captioning became more widely available and more widely adopted, because I'm an old man. I can't stand listening to things that don't have captions. So I love being able to throw something live like this. You can deal with it. It's a little bit harder to put the captions up there. The delay on the captions on live TV always bothers me. But if it's a pre-recorded thing, yeah, definitely get the captions up there. There's no harm in it. It always helps make the video pop a little more in most situations, except for maybe like a few situations like comedy where sometimes the captions can spoil the joke. But outside of that, I'd say captions never hurt. So yeah, really exciting to have free captioning out there for everybody. And then, as I mentioned earlier on the show, we're taking that long to shorter, but not short. I think that's going to be huge, especially for those of you who are, have all the podcast library like you, Marco. You can take, you can go milk every single one of your previous content, videos, put them back out on YouTube in 5 to 10 minute segments, and that's long form content that you can monetize, like you would, any other long form YouTube content. And so I think the monetization potential there for dedicated creators is going to be massive, and really give people a lot more flexibility in terms of how they approach their content. So really looking forward to both those things. And then a little bit farther out, last thing that I will mention is we are working on building a much more powerful editor. It will still be a web-based editor, but it will be much, much, much more powerful with more AI magic involved, and most importantly, with all of the capabilities that both pro and novice editors are looking for in an editing tool. So keep an eye out for that. That's further out on the horizon, but still excited about it.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm looking forward to those things because it's not just, for instance, the fact that you can have these big shorts. It's okay, having the chance to monetize them, it's good, but also in a kind of business generator perspective, it's pretty interesting as well, because we know that people, YouTube, it's the second biggest search engine. So some people, they go there. So by bringing this relationship and trusting perspective, I believe it's a nice approach as well, because you have long videos, you can bring these bigger nuggets or buckets, and then people could find you, and then they could, oh, this person has some nice insights, let me subscribe. And then they keep coming, and then, oh, I need this kind of person to help me in my business or to make a collaboration, whatever. So I believe this is something that we should have in mind as well. So take a look at Opus Clip, and Conor will be saying right away how you can find them.
Yeah, just head to opus.pro. Check us out. You can check us out here on LinkedIn. There's no shortage of ways. Just search Opus Clip in your Google search bar. However you want to find us, it's pretty easy to come across us. We're out there all over the internet, so no stress there at all. Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me, Marco. This has been a blast. I really had a good time.
It's me thanking you, because yes, it was actually a pretty nice interview, really nice insights, and I'm looking forward to see the nuggets that we could bring from this conversation.
Yeah, we'll see how it turns out. I don't know. I always get nervous when it's me on the screen, like you were saying before. I talk a big game, but after I get those Opus Clip results, it's me, and I'm the one making all the weird verbal gaffes. It's really hard. I think that's the hardest part of video production, going back to what we were talking about before, is that sort of, you have to rewatch yourself over and over again in the post-production process. So hopefully Opus Clip also helps with that a little bit, where you only have to stomach watching it once, and then it's like, okay, I can post this. I don't need to do it again.
The thing is, and for instance, I have a video too that I got it from Opus Clip. Okay, I had this interview back 2 years ago or so, and this topic came to the table. Like nobody likes to listen themselves because it sounds a little bit crazy, and look at you, it's a little bit awkward as well. But I think the listening thing, it's the most awkward. But the thing is, there's no way you can avoid it. It's get used to it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. For instance, right now I'm listening to myself, because I want to listen to how I'm sounding. So I want to monitor my sound, and also I'm listening to you. And the thing is, I'm getting used to it. Okay, so after some some hours.
Like taking a little bit of poison every day, right? Eventually,
Yes,
you become
yes.
immune.
It doesn't kill you. It makes you stronger. So thank you so much,
Yeah,
Conor. Thank you so much,
absolutely.
Valencia. By the way, I don't know if you know it. It's an amazing, beautiful city in Spain. I think there's some Latin American. I think it has also in Venezuela, Valencia. I don't know, but Valencia, you should completely go to Valencia in Spain. It's one of my favorites in Spain, cities in Spain. It's really nice. Don't go in summer because it's
It's
kind
very
of
hot.
hell there.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, Valencia, Lindsay, Franz, also Joe, and all of you were watching, listening this live show. Hopefully soon you will see some nuggets from this. Thank you so much again, Conor, for being here with me.
Yeah, absolutely. You too.
Wishing you an amazing year. Next week, I probably will be live again, with more guests, but probably tomorrow I will be live again with my Amazon live show. So bye bye. Have a nice year. See you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Good luck with the content. If you guys ever need help or maybe some extra credits, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Yep. Thanks again, Marco. Talk to you guys later.
Bye.